Do you care too much? Does stuff just get your goat and you're about to lose it every second of every day? Well, you're in luck because today's episode, we're going to be talking about the subtle art of not giving an F star CK because that way it sells more copies. This is the
Yeah.
Existential Stoic podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. What's going on, Danny?
What's up, Randy?
Now, some people might say that, this is the title of a book, but
Yeah, I
as
mean,
much as it may or may not sound like a book, real or fiction, or existed or never existed, this was just made up out of the complete blue, and it's not related to any book, past, present, or future that may have ever existed. So
there you
now that
go.
we've given
Very
a
nice.
disclaimer,
That is very
yes,
nice. It's there.
we were actually just talking about giving an F star CK, weren't we?
Yeah, it's great. Well, I mean, it is like I think nowadays we're flooded with information from I mean, dude, I think about that a lot. Like you can know things going on around the world in real time, basically, that you never would have like had access to before. And then on top of that, like because of social media and stuff, you can see what you take to be, right, individuals' lives. So it's even more granular. And I think it's just like there's so much, it's like almost overwhelming to the point where you just have to not care and step back. Otherwise, you get lost in like a sea of just nonsense that you can't change, like that you have
Yo,
no capacity to fix right now.
Mhm. That's an actually excellent point, is what you're actually in control of. And we'll come back to that because so
We have to.
what I was thinking of with this episode is I just finished reading one book that was shocking, and I started listening to another book that is shocking. So one was called Tracers in the Dark, about how the FBI just hunts down people using cryptocurrency. So this is like kingpins, child predators, all these different things
Which makes
using
sense. Yeah.
cryptocurrency. Yeah, some things are warranted, but also it's just it it makes you question if you
In
have
doing
any
that, they're
private.
also, yeah, because in doing that, they
Yeah,
clearly can do it. So,
because also there's always gray areas. So it's like the companies that are hunting these things down are doing business with countries in the Middle East, but they won't say what countries, and some of these countries have horrible human right violations,
yeah.
which they could do hunt all type of well, so anyways, there's that, which was just shocking. And the crazy part is that like this, I think it was the CIA for a while, they like took down one of these darknet markets and then ran it for a month or two as like a honeypot, so they could just collect everyone's information who was using it to be able to collect to like connect them to all these different accounts. So
I mean, I
anyways,
can't blame them on doing that because if
yeah,
you got
right.
that, they were like, this is like, this is gold.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
like, yeah, so they did that. And then there's another book that I just started listening to called Data versus Goliath, which is an awesome pun on David and Goliath
Those
with like
actually were
big
good
data.
titles, to be honest. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing title. It's by Bruce Schneier, this guy who's like very well known in security. And it's just uncanny the amount of like data that is just given away for free. You have no rights whatsoever. And like all this, we're made to feel safe because it's only metadata. But like from listening to that book, I just got more and more depressed after like listening for an hour and a half because I'm like, oh my God, metadata paints the whole story, and you
It
combine a
does.
couple
You don't
metadata
need anything
sources
else.
and that's it. You're done.
You need nothing else to paint a full picture of a person using that. It tells you everything about where they went, who they talked to, what they were
Yeah.
doing. And, I think, but this is part of it, right? Like that's the other problem too. I think now is we're in this weird place where like technology got adopted so quickly, became ubiquitous so quickly, is used by everyone, but very few people actually understand it. And like, especially in full, very few people understand it in full. There's so much going on that like it's just impossible. So you just kind of have to like, it's a convenience. It's really nice. You don't want to give it up. So it's like, all right, I'm stuck with this, but at the same time, you have all these problems.
And he was talking about it, how it actually came to be this model where we basically give away all of our privacy for free. Because initially, when it first started and got into more of the private sector and companies and stuff like that, they realized that people just wouldn't pay for anything on the internet aside from
Because,
porn.
well, they didn't know what
And
it
so
was.
everything else had to
They
be a
didn't,
freemium
yeah.
model.
Porn, they
Yeah.
knew what it was. Everything
Yeah.
else, no. But like seriously, like right, like why should people? I think when it first started, they didn't understand like why should I pay for an email? They didn't get what it was, and then you got companies. I know Google was like one of the big ones for that. Was like offer free services. All we take is your information. And nobody thought about,
which is
oh, how
everything.
much? Yeah, which
Yeah.
is everything. And then,
Yeah.
we become the king of the ads.
And
Yeah.
it's crazy because we give away such an insane amount of information. And really, based on the company, it amounts to like $40 per person per year or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was less than that for some companies, which is freaking nuts.
Yeah.
That
It's
like you give
insane.
away literally all of your freedoms for $40 a year.
Yeah. For nothing. Well, it's interesting too, because I think I mentioned this before. Like I was reading like the billboards, those ones that change the screens, the ones that are
Yeah.
screens, they have Bluetooth and stuff in them. So they can tell which cars are coming. They get information from their phones. That determines the ad based on aggregate, who they think like will most be affected by it. Then it sends a cookie to your phone, and that cookie sits, and when you location go to one of those places that was on the billboard, like the business, say it's shoes
Hmm.
and you go buy shoes, it knows, it sends a message to notify the billboard company and the advertising company that there was somebody went to, they don't know if a purchase was made, but I'm sure they could also tell that.
Yeah, it's crazy. They can do that stuff with facial recognition
Dude,
and social media scraping and all types of stuff.
do you know what's crazy? I have a cookie blocker, right? And it, blocks
Hmm.
like, all everything. But if you look at the numbers on some of the sites, it's insane. Like insane. Like especially stuff like social media. You go on Facebook, dude, it'll go up into the uppers of like six, seven, eight, 900
Yeah,
things. And
it's
those are
nuts.
all individual pieces of data from individual third parties taking God knows what, tracking God, trying to track God knows what. Like,
And so here's the crazy thing that he was talking about in the book. He's like, there's still gonna like down in the comments, I'm sure after we make this video, there will be people like, I have perfect operational security. I don't use Google. I don't use Facebook. I don't have any linked accounts. I pay all cash. I live in a bunker down in my basement. And so like somebody will write that stuff. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter because other people use it and you live in the real world. So you're walking down the street, you wind
yep.
up in the back of someone's photo. Facial recognition software on all these things knows exactly where you are. Or
And
like,
it's really good. It's
yeah,
gotten really good, like incredibly good.
or like, let's say you use a Kindle to read your books. Well, Amazon knows exactly what books you're reading and if you read them all the way through, or if you just read little bits at a time. And based on if you and they he was saying something in there where like if you take away the 100 best-selling books, everybody else's book profile is like a distinctive fingerprint for them.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's a distinct, unique look at this person, right? I mean, that is the funny thing. We are all, I think that's what people forget. Like we have a lot of shared experiences, but we are all individual when you get down to the granular, like nitty gritty of like our likes, dislikes, what we actually spend our time on, right? Because it's going to be a little different for everybody. There might be a difference in like, we read a lot of stuff that overlaps, but we also read a lot of stuff that's different. So it's like that'll tell a unique picture. On a side note, at
Hmm.
least everybody knows where the title came from now today.
By the way, yeah, by the way, talking about giving too much of an F star CK about something, I started reading a book that I've wanted to read for a while, The Elegant Universe, which is like Brian Greene's book about the superstring theory
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
it's been
yeah.
around forever.
Yeah.
And like I studied physics in undergrad, but I was a terrible student. I barely graduated, so that shouldn't mean anything. But it, it got to a point where it like ground my gears to where I just stopped reading the book because and probably I'm like this can't I got to a point where I was reading it and I was like this can't be the superstring theory because this is just too retarded because it's
Oh no,
like
it
we
is.
had
It is.
well it's
It
like
definitely is.
okay so like here's the thing, so when I was studying physics superstring theory did not yet exist, and at that time we had these very small mo not molecules, very small things like quarks and tau
Subatomic
and muons and
particles. Yeah.
subatomic particles, there we go, that's what they're called. And so like at that time, those were the smallest things. And we didn't know much about them, but that was it. And so I was reading the book and probably like second chapter or something, he's like, okay, so superstring theory, if you imagine all of these things are made up of little strings,
What
then
happens?
everything is related. And I'm like, hang on. That can't be your grand unified theory where if everything is made up of something else, then it's all
Yep.
related. Well, no kidding, dude. If everything was made up of pigs' buttholes, then everything would be pigs' buttholes.
If
And I was
everything's
just like,
energy, everything's energy. Yeah, I know.
yeah.
It's like ridiculous. It's like
I
I,
I
I don't
quit
know.
reading and I've been looking forward to reading that book for like 10 years. And I got to that point and I was just like, this is garbage.
I mean, well, this is always cracking up with that too. Is like, it's easy. I think it can be easy in science too, especially to get caught up in like an idea and find justifications, right? I mean, because all of these are just explanations for things. It's a story you paint, and we come up with the problem, we come up with the solution. So, it can be
Hmm.
false but still sound good, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
even when he was, I mean, yeah, like I said, I wasn't great at physics, but like even when he was talking about it, he was talking about how like quantum mechanics is just because we measure stuff that's really small, and uh general uh general relativity is just to measure things real big. And it's like, well, that's all based on your perspective. So like if your perspective is enormous, then really small, just but anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. It is.
So anyway, so how do we not give an F and
This is, I think this is the hard part, but I think more people need to do it, right? Because I think you can only, I always think about like, you
give
can
so many
only,
fucks?
yeah, you only have so many fucks to give, right? You can only do so much. You can only actually affect so much. And so you can do what you can, and that's pretty much that's the end of it, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff that's outside of your control. And yes, like theoretically, and I think this is what kills me, is like you could do something about it if you wanted to. Like you could, like if you saw something happening across the world that you hated, you could quit your job, you could leave, you could go do, work for one of those nonprofits or something and do something like that. You could and make a difference. That's possible. But you'd have to be willing to do all those other things and basically give up everything, right? To try and change it with no guarantee that it's going to change anyway. And I think this is one of those difficulties that we face, right? Where like we want the world to be better, but we also at the same time, like, we can only do so much in a day and so much in our lives, and you have to kind of
Yeah.
prioritize.
And especially nowadays with like the news media and everything saying how like you should be outraged by this, and they're just doing that to get your attention.
Well, that's the other
But
thing,
I
right?
kind of,
Everything is. It's trying to get your emotions up because that keeps you looking and keeps you watching. Like, oh, I'm so pissed about this. So you just watch endless hours of commentary and opinions about something, right? Instead of actually,
mhm,
which gives you no more new information other than
yeah.
things happening.
The one thing that I enjoyed about the election cycle that just happened is like you can always tell like the least intelligent people, they just come out of the woodwork during the time of elections because they're like, this is the most important thing ever. Everybody needs to vote. And yeah.
But it is the most important election ever in the history forever. It was. But they always say that. I mean, in
But
some sense, I
according
get,
according to the recency bias, it is the
well, I was
most
gonna
important
say,
election ever.
in some sense, it is in the sense that like we can content like vote in it. So like it's important in the sense it's happening now, but like, yeah. I mean, we've been going in this direction for a while, so it's a mess, but
Yeah.
it's hard though. But I think people do struggle with it. And I think part of it is just like realizing like, does this help you? Does it make your life better stressing about this? Does it make your life better being angry about it? Does your anger and stress actually do anything to stop it? Does your bitching about it actually make a difference? No.
Mm,
Like, so
yeah.
maybe try something else. I think
It's
that's,
also, yeah, also like the dichotomy of control. So what do you actually have
yeah,
control over? And
not much.
not
You control it,
much.
it pretty much ends here, right
Your
there.
judgments, your
Yeah.
opinions, your actions.
But this is what's funny. I think that's one of the things we need that people should do is like step back from those judgments, opinions, and stuff that causes anger and stuff because really it's not helpful. And ask yourself, like, why do I feel this way? Like, why really am I angry about this thing that I
Hmm.
can't change? What is it that makes me so upset? And then is there actually anything actionable I could do that would actually make a
Mm,
difference? Because there might
yeah.
be, you never know.
Yeah. So you know how we both read or listen to Marcus Aurelius pretty often.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
so like the dude who read it on YouTube that I listened to finished listening to that, and then it went like automatically to another one of his videos, and it went to one by Musonius Rufus, the Roman Socrates.
yeah, nice.
And dude, I really enjoyed listening to that. I was just like, oh my goodness, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. Holy freaking cow.
I personally very much like Heraclitus. He's like one of my favorites from
Hmm.
the ancients. He's tough because it's all fragments though, so it's like
Yeah.
it's hard when you get the ancients are tough sometimes because you don't get the full. You want more, and it's like you get like 3 pages of a book pieced together and stuff. But
How cool would that be to like be able to transport back then and see what it was like
it would have been
and then
interesting,
hop
right?
back here?
Yeah, because you don't want to stay there for the rest of it. Oh
Wouldn't
God,
that be wouldn't that be cool if one day you were able to take vacations in time?
that'd be neat. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah. So the subtle art of not giving an F. I also okay, so here's another thing that I'm learning a lot is I care way too much. So I give way too many Fs and I get all bent out of shape. But that's the first arrow. And then the second arrow is me shooting myself because I got upset. So for me right now, it's the art of learning to just be kinder to myself when I get all bent out
Yeah,
of shape, being like, attaboy. All right, that's part of you. Fine. It's
yeah,
okay.
that would be good. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's at
Yeah.
least a good step towards the right direction, right? Because if you can get rid of that
Hmm.
first arrow, the second one will be easier. And I think that's
Yeah.
a good approach too, because that's smart. You can't take care of both at once necessarily, right?
Yeah. That happened today. There was something. Oh yeah, that happened today where like something pissed me off and I could feel it coming up. And then I was like, I don't want to be angry about this. And I just kind of like I felt like I stepped aside almost
Yeah,
emotionally and it just
that's
went
good.
past. And I was just like, oh, how about that?
Yeah, I don't get angry very often. I mean, stuff frustrates me and stuff, but like I think a lot of it is just kind of like I think the existentialists help because a lot of it is just comical. Like it is absurd. Like I think about that all the time. Like what Camus said, like this existence is absurd, right? We ask for answers, but no answers are given. Like it's all a construct. It's just people running around doing stuff. Nobody knows what the hell they're doing. And we get
Hmm.
one shot, like, and in some sense, you just kind of have to like also laugh at it and just, you know, I
Yeah.
just like, all right, do what I can do,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's crazy because like the concept of confidence, we're like, you know, nobody has confidence all the time in everything, and
Hmm.
nobody lacks confidence all the time in everything. But like some people have more confidence in certain areas or in all areas than other people. And it's just like we're all going around, we have no idea. But some people are just very confident about it, and some people have no confidence at all about it.
Yeah, well, the confident people are just basically just lying themselves, but it works, right? Hey,
Yeah.
what's the problem? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny.
Yeah, so there you have it. Nice and simple. How to stop giving an F about everything and other non-book titles that we're not doing. So,
Yeah, there you
in
go.
case you enjoyed this episode, we have hundreds more available on YouTube, wherever you get your favorite podcasts, all those places. Until next time, this is the Existential Stoic Podcast. I'm Randy. That's Danny. I'll see you later, Danny.
Later, Andy.